Well, my name is Allyson Lange-Sost. I am a licensed acupuncturist. I'm licensed in Florida and Georgia. I'm also a biomagnetic pairing therapist. I've been in medicine for over 30 years. I was a respiratory therapist for almost 17 years before I got into acupuncture.
And I think we have one big thing left, which I was completely new to that.
Yeah.
So you introduced me to that, and that's biomagnetic pairing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
This has been really fascinating. I started getting involved with this about 6.5 years ago. And there was a lady that would come up to Tallahassee from Tampa. And I learned through my circle of people who she was and what she was doing. So went and tried it myself and felt amazing, and brought my husband back the next time she came, and a friend of mine who actually drove down from Alpharetta to Tallahassee to see her. She has a lot of physical issues going on and was working with other practitioners up in Alpharetta who were saying, well, we'll work with one thing at a time, and it might take you several years to get through this, but we can do it. And I told her, I don't think you're going to have to work at it that long. I really don't. You need to come do this. And it changed her life. So much so that she began studying it too.
Wow.
So biomagnetic pairing therapy was discovered back in the 80s by Dr. Goiz down in Mexico, who was in the throes of HIV and tuberculosis. And he was a physical therapist who also did respiratory and acupuncture. And but in Mexico. He learned about this through a NASA scientist who was studying the astronauts when they would be out in orbit, and how they would have a leg length discrepancy when they came back. That would just correct itself after they had been back on the Earth. And he came to the conclusion that it was lack of exposure to the Earth's magnetic pole, not gravity, but the Earth's magnetic pole, that would move that leg. So they began working together, and Dr. Goiz just ran with it. And so what we're doing is, it's a manual scan. I am looking for distortions in the pH. Those distortions can come about from, it could be a genetic predisposition, it could be accident, illness, injuries, emotions can cause distortions at the cellular level in different areas of the body. So I'm scanning the entire body. When I find an area of distortion, your leg length will change, and that lets me know that there's a distortion in that area. Then I pair that magnet with another magnet in the opposite polarity, and that will help to correct the distortion in the pH. Sometimes you'll have bacteria, viruses, parasites, funguses within those areas, and we create an environment that is inhospitable to pathogens.
Right.
Most of them won't thrive, and some cannot survive. And then your body takes over and eliminates them. So those pathogens can be contributing to or causing some symptoms or conditions, diagnoses that you've been given. So by correcting the pH all over the body, we're just bringing your body back into that homeostasis, so things will function better and you won't have the disease and discomfort.
That is pretty amazing.
It's fascinating.
I still need to wrap my head around that.
It's biology. It really is.
It sounds like it, yes, absolutely. So when you talk about pH distortions, what's the normal pH or the healthy pH in our body?
It depends on where.
Oh, so that's not always the same.
It's not the same, right? I mean, you don't want to have the same pH in your bladder that you have in your stomach, and vice versa.
Right.
So the pH is different in different areas of the body, different organs, in your joints, at the cellular level. So that's what's great about this, is that it is treating those areas, specifically. And it's just, I use the analogy of a pool or any body of water. You have to maintain a proper pH, right? If you have a fishbowl, if it's, if it becomes too alkaline, you're going to have little bacterial growth in there and things start turning green. Same with your swimming pool. So you shock the pool and all of those things drop to the bottom, right? That's kind of what I'm doing with the magnets, is I'm shocking the pool. All the stuff's going to go down. You still have to sweep the sides and vacuum the stuff out before you have clear water, and you usually have to wait a few days, right, for all the chemicals to settle down. But that's your immune system engaging and eliminating whatever it was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's a non-invasive treatment. You're fully clothed on the table. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes. The great thing is I'm not looking for anything. I'm just performing the scan and treating what I find.
So you don't actually need to know what discomfort, ailments, diseases people have.
Mm-hmm.
You can pretty much do blind, whoever
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's very different from the acupuncture
Right.
intake, where the acupuncture intake is very detailed, and not only what brings you in, but head to toe. And then I'm going to take pulse and look at your tongue and look at your ear and get all this information for acupuncture. With the biomagnetic pairing therapy, I'm going to do the same scan no matter what.
What are the most common ailments that people come to you for biomagnetic therapy?
For pain, digestive disorders, allergies. A lot of people have diagnoses. Again, it's like, well, you have this. I recently had a lady who had all over whole body joint pain, just constantly. She had blood work done, and her ANA, which is a marker for arthritis, her ANA was positive. So the doctor was referring her to a rheumatologist, and that rheumatologist ordered more blood work. Well, she saw me between blood work number 1 and blood work number 2, and I just did a scan. And when she got her blood work back for the rheumatologist, they canceled her appointment because her ANA was negative. So again, just helping the body to help itself.
And how long does that effect last?
It depends on what I find, depends on how long it's been there. So you think about, if you have an area that you've injured your knee, and maybe you had surgery on your knee. So you're done with rehab and everything, your knee's better, but it's not 100%. You know, there's always a little something there. So it just really depends on what I find. And people also have to engage in their lifestyle to correct some of the things, because a lot of times we create our own distortions.
Isn't that the truth?
But what I love about that is Dr. Goiz's take on the genetics of different conditions or diseases, like cardiovascular disease, cancer, that sort of thing, is that the disease itself is not what is passed along. What's passed along genetically is the integrity of the cells. So if it's cardiovascular disease, the cardiovascular cells in the body, that is genetically passed on. Those cells may not be great. It doesn't mean you're going to have cardiovascular disease, but the stage is set.
Right.
So with your lifestyle and the things you do and don't do for yourselves could
Lead, possibly.
more easily lead you down that path. So I like that, because when you think about genetic predispositions, it can be kind of a scary thing. A lot of people think I'm doomed. I think we can take a little more control over our destiny.
Oh, absolutely. I do believe that. Yeah. So when somebody comes to you, they just say, listen, I've been to doctors, I've done so many things, and I just still feel stuck. What should I do? Acupuncture or biomagnetic?
That's the benefit of me having a conversation with each person and kind of figuring out where they are. I have people that come to me, they want acupuncture. I had one girl, she just wanted acupuncture. She knows it works. She didn't want cupping, Gua Sha. She didn't want anything but needles. That's what works for her. But she had a history of chronic strep infections, chronic joint pain, and chronic fatigue. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I really need to get the magnets on you. I'll do the needling. We can do that. So, after a few acupuncture sessions, I think she was ready for the magnets. So I think, I take that into account if people don't come to me wanting one thing or the other. And even if they do, I'll make that recommendation based on what's going on with them. Because my lady who had the negative ANA was coming for the magnets, and she does still have a little bit of knee pain and a little shoulder pain. So now she's going to come for acupuncture, and she's not going to be on medication that could cause other symptoms and issues for her. Yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah, it is. It's huge, and people appreciate that. So we've eliminated a lot of the offenders, and now we can shore those areas up.
See, and that's, now we come back to what we said in the beginning. There are so many different tools and pathways to well-being and health out there. Right. So we have to spread the word that this is actually a therapy that's available here now. And
it's a very unique thing, and it's a lot of work for me, but I love it. It's very kind of detective work. So yeah, it goes right along with acupuncture. And Dr. Goiz did present his findings. He went all over the world and collaborated with different people in labs and such. And he sat down in front of one of the premier internal infectious disease doctors in Europe, and he would not talk to him because at that point, Dr. Goiz was not a doctor yet. He said, "You're not my equal. I won't have this conversation with you." So he went back to medical school.
He did?
And he said, "That will never be an issue again." So, and he did present his findings. There are published studies that he has done from the NIH. It's real.
Well, obviously, I mean, you have, since you've been doing it, you have success stories, right?
I do. I have a lot of success stories.
Yeah. Do we really always need that scientific stamp on it, you know, approved?
It's true. I mean, the same with acupuncture. We
Yeah.
finally found a way to study it in an effective, objective way. But, there's no denying that it's a medicine that's been practiced for thousands of years on billions of people all over the world.
Exactly.
So it's effective.
It's effective. I
Right.
mean, the history proved itself there, right? And it's not invasive, you don't put anything into your body.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
right. With the magnets, they're pretty powerful.
I'm super excited that you're here, and
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I
Good.
really am. I appreciate the opportunity and
absolutely.
love this area, and being here is just it's so comfortable and really feels like a healing space. So I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, thank you.